Imagine a woman so consumed by betrayal that she destroyed her own children to punish the man who wronged her, not in a fit of madness, but with cold, calculated precision. This isn't a modern crime thriller. This is ancient Greek tragedy at its most devastating. This is Medea. In the 5th century before the Common Era, Athens was the beating heart of theatrical innovation. 3 great masters dominated the tragic stage: Aeschylus, Sophocles, and Euripides. While Aeschylus explored cosmic justice and Sophocles examined human dignity, Euripides did something revolutionary. He turned his lens inward, dissecting the human psyche with surgical precision. He gave voice to the voiceless, complexity to the marginalized, and humanity to monsters. Euripides wrote approximately 90 plays during his lifetime, but one towers above all others. Medea, first performed in 431 before the Common Era, remains his undisputed masterpiece. It's a work so powerful, so psychologically complex, that it continues to shock and captivate audiences more than 2,000 years later. But to understand why this play changed theater forever, we need to understand the woman at its center. Medea's story begins long before she arrives in Corinth, in the distant kingdom of Colchis on the Black Sea. She was a princess, daughter of King Euripides, niece of the legendary sorceress Circe. She possessed formidable magical powers, a brilliant mind, and a life of privilege. Then Jason arrived, seeking the Golden Fleece. Jason wasn't just lucky. The goddesses Hera and Aphrodite conspired to ensure his success. They made Medea fall desperately, irrevocably in love with this foreign hero. Divine manipulation set everything in motion. Love, in this case, wasn't a choice. It was a curse disguised as destiny. King Euripides had no intention of surrendering the Golden Fleece easily. He set Jason impossible tasks designed to kill him: yoke fire-breathing bulls, plow a field and sow it with dragon's teeth, defeat the army of warriors that would spring from the earth. These weren't trials. They were execution methods. Medea couldn't bear to watch Jason die. She used her sorcery to protect him, giving him magical ointments and secret knowledge. She betrayed her father, her kingdom, her entire world for this man she barely knew. Jason succeeded, claimed the fleece, and prepared to sail away. But Medea's betrayal wasn't finished. When her father's fleet pursued Jason's ship, Medea committed an act so horrifying it would haunt her forever. She killed her own brother, dismembered his body, and scattered the pieces across the sea. Her father had to stop and gather the remains for proper burial, allowing Jason to escape. This wasn't passion. This was sacrifice. Medea had burned every bridge, committed the unthinkable, all for Jason's sake. The couple fled to Iolcus, where Medea's dark talents served Jason once more. King Peleus, a usurper, stood in their way. Medea approached his daughters with a promise. She could make their aging father young again through a magical ritual. She demonstrated by cutting up an old ram and boiling it with herbs. A young lamb emerged from the cauldron. The daughters believed her. They killed their own father and brought his body to Medea. Of course, no rejuvenation occurred. It was murder by deception, and it forced Jason and Medea to flee again. They sought refuge in Corinth, where they lived for years and had 2 sons. Medea had sacrificed everything for Jason: her home, her family, her innocence, her very soul. Then Jason betrayed her. He arranged to marry the daughter of Creon, king of Corinth. A political marriage, he called it. A strategic alliance to secure power and status. For Jason, it was advancement. For Medea, it was annihilation. She was a foreigner in a Greek city, a woman with no legal rights, a wife being discarded like a broken tool. This is where Euripides' play begins, and this is where everything changes. The Medea we meet isn't a raving mad woman. She's articulate, intelligent, and terrifyingly rational. She understands exactly what's happening to her. Jason's betrayal isn't just personal, it's existential. In ancient Greek society, a divorced foreign woman had nothing. No protection, no status, no future. Creon orders Medea into exile, fearing her power and her rage. But Medea negotiates 1 day's delay, 1 day to prepare. Jason visits her, offering patronizing justifications. He's doing this for their sons, he claims. This new marriage will give them security, royal connections, a better life. Medea listens, and she plans. She sends gifts to Jason's new bride, a beautiful golden robe and an ornate coronet, tokens of supposed reconciliation. The princess, delighted by these treasures, puts them on immediately. The gifts are cursed. Poison and fire consume her flesh, melting her skin, burning her alive. When Creon tries to save his daughter, the curse takes him too. But Medea isn't finished. Destroyed Jason's new wife isn't enough. She needs to destroy him completely to ensure his suffering matches hers. She looks at her 2 young sons and makes a choice that has echoed through millennia. Her own children are both dead, not in madness, not in passion, but with clear-eyed determination. She reasons through it in one of theater's most chilling monologues. If she leaves them alive, Jason's enemies will destroy them anyway. Better she do it herself. But there's more. By destroy them, she destroys Jason's legacy, his future, his reason for the political marriage. She strips away everything he values. Euripides doesn't let us look away. He forces us to understand Medea's logic even as we're horrified by her actions. She's not a monster. She's a woman with no options, no recourse, no justice available through any legitimate means. So she creates her own justice, terrible and absolute. The play ends with Medea escaping in a chariot drawn by dragons, a gift from her grandfather Helios, the sun god. She leaves Jason alive, broken, surrounded by the corpses of everyone he loved. Death would be mercy. Medea doesn't grant mercy. Why was this play so revolutionary? Euripides gave a woman, a foreigner, a position of power and intellectual authority unprecedented in Greek theater. Medea articulates the injustices women faced with devastating clarity. She speaks of how women are bought in marriage, how they have no control over their bodies or futures, how one wrong choice can destroy them. Modern scholars often call Medea a proto-feminist figure. She refuses to accept her victimization quietly. She defies every expectation of how women should behave. She's brilliant, powerful, and unapologetic. Yes, she commits atrocities, but Euripides asks us to understand why. Unlike Aeschylus and Sophocles, Euripides portrayed gods as petty and heroes as flawed. He brought mythology down to human level, showing that divine beings were just as capable of cruelty and selfishness as mortals. He questioned war, criticized social norms, and gave voice to societies marginalized. Medea endures because it asks questions we still grapple with today. What happens when society offers no legal protection to the vulnerable? How far will someone go when pushed beyond endurance? Can we understand terrible actions without condoning them? Is revenge ever justified? This 500-year-old play continues to be performed, adapted, and reinterpreted worldwide. Medea remains one of theater's most complex, most debated, most unforgettable characters. She's victim and villain, sympathetic and monstrous, powerless, and terrifyingly powerful. Euripides understood something profound about human nature. We're all capable of both nobility and horror. We're shaped by the societies we live in and the injustices we endure. And sometimes, the most dangerous person in the room is the one with nothing left to lose. That's the legacy of Medea. Not just a tragedy, but a mirror held up to civilization itself.